تحتاجيه بهالحياة. بعرف إنك مفكرة حالك محتاجتي، يلي عم تعيشيه أزمة صغيرة
ينهدم قدام عيوني. بس بعد هالأزمة اللي عاشتها رويا بالفترة الأخيرة، إذا بعدت عن المكان اللي متعودة عليه،
Welcome back to Jamaat Studio, where every story carries a deeper meaning and every episode leaves behind a truth you can feel. So let's begin the review. This episode begins with expectation. There is a sense that something important is supposed to happen. From the very first scene, you can feel that the story is building toward a moment that has been anticipated for a long time. The atmosphere feels prepared, almost like everything is set for a specific outcome. But expectations do not always match reality. And that's where this episode finds its strength. The theme of this episode revolves around expectation versus reality. At the start, everything seems to be moving in a clear direction. Plans are being followed, conversation feels intentional, and there is a belief that things will go exactly as imagined. There is a confidence in decision and sense of control over what is about to unfold, but slowly things begin to shift, not in a dramatic way at first, but in a small, almost unnoticeable moments. A response doesn't match the expectation. A situation takes slightly different turn, and suddenly the certainty that once existed begins to fade. This is where the tension begins to build. Because when expectations are strong, even small changes feel significant. Midway through the episode, the difference between expectation and reality becomes more visible. Things do not go as planned, conversations do not lead where they were supposed to, reactions are not what was anticipated, and with every unexpected moment, frustration begins to grow. There is a feeling of losing control, not because everything is falling apart, but because things are not aligning with what was imagined, and it's create emotional pressure. There is a powerful scene where reality fully confronts expectation, a moment where everything that was assumed is changed. The truth becomes clear, not in a harsh way, but in an undeniable way. What was expected simply is not happening, and that realization hits deeply. Because expectations are not just thoughts, they are feelings. They carry hope, belief, and sometimes even certainty. And when they break, it is not just disappointment, it is emotional impact. As the episode moves forward, the characters begin to react to this shift. Some try to hold on to their expectations, refusing to accept reality. Some begin to adjust, slowly understanding that things are different. And some feel lost, unsure of what to do when things do not go as planned. This range of reactions add depth to the story because it shows that dealing with disappointment is not simple. Visually, the episode reflects this transition beautifully. Early scenes feel structured and stable, almost symmetrical, but as reality begins to break expectations, the framing becomes more uneven. The balance shifts, creating a subtle sense of discomfort as we approach the final act. Acceptance begins to emerge. Not fully, not easily, but gradually. There is a realization that holding on to expectations won't change reality, that resisting what is only creates more frustration, and that sometimes the only way forward is to adjust. This realization is not shown through dramatic dialogue. It is shown through small changes, a calmer reaction, a softer tone, and a moment of letting go. These subtle shifts carry a lot of meaning. One of the most impactful moments comes near the end. A quiet scene where everything feels different, not because the situation has changed, but because the perspective has. What once felt disappointing now feels understandable, not perfect, but real. And that shift is powerful. The final scene leaves a lasting impression. There is no grand resolution, no moment of complete satisfaction. But there is a something important clarity, the understanding that expectation do not define reality, and that sometimes what we didn't plan for can still have value. This episode stands out because it captures a universal experience, the gap between what we expect and what actually happens. It reminds us that expectation can guide us, but they can also limit us, that reality doesn't always follow our plans, and that learning to adapt is a part of our growth. When the episode ends, it doesn't fully disappointing. It feels real because life doesn't always go as expected, and maybe that is not always a bad thing. So this has been another meaningful experience with Jamaat Studio, where every expectation tells a story and every reality leaves a lesson. Until the next time, do not just expect, learn to accept. So thank you so much for watching. Welcome back to Jamaat Studio, where every story carries a deeper meaning and every episode leaves behind a truth you can feel. So let's begin the review. This episode begins with expectation. There is a sense that something important is supposed to happen. From the very first scene, you can feel that the story is building toward a moment that is